Hi, thank you for joining us for the third video in this 4-part series on MQTT Sparkplug. In the previous video, we have created IoT things to represent our entities and prepared industrial gateway for edge communication. Now we'll focus on edge of network node. So here we'll set up the edge of network node using Ignition software on an EC2 instance. Let's switch to console. For setting up the edge of network node, we'll go to EC2 and launch an instance. We'll call it Ignition Edge of Network and look for an AMI. And then I'll use a medium instance. For the key pair, I'll pick the one that's existing. And for the firewall, we will allow HTTP and HTTPS. So this will help us access the Ignition web application. And that's it for now. We'll just launch the instance. Now we'll give it a few seconds and then launch the Ignition web application. We'll go back to the instances and then look for the public IP. We'll copy this and launch the Ignition web application. This could take a few minutes, so I'll pause it here and come back. So the gateway is up and running. Now let us create some assets and tags so that we can use them to publish MQTT Sparkplug messages. And for that, we'll download and install the Ignition Design Launcher. I'll pause the recording for a moment and come back. I'm done installing the launcher. Now I'll open it and connect with the Ignition gateway. I'll be using the default credentials, which is admin and password. From the project, we'll create a pump asset class and add an instance of it. So for that, we'll go to data types and add a new data type called pump. And we'll add some measurements. So we're done creating our asset templates, which can be seen under data types. Now we'll create a new instance of pump and we'll call it pump1. For the measurements, we'll use some dummy values. And you can see our pump asset here with the measurement values. So we have the templates and assets ready. Now let us configure the MQTT transmission. Switching back to Ignition web application. We'll go to MQTT transmission settings. Under servers, certificates, first we need to upload our certificates and keys. We already downloaded the device certificate and device private key earlier, but for the root CA, since we are connecting to the MQTT broker on Greengrass, we need to download the root CA from the Greengrass device. So we'll connect to our Greengrass Core EC2 instance and download that root CA certificate. I'll rename this to be more readable. Now we'll upload these certificates to Ignition web application. So we are done uploading our certificates. Next we'll move on to settings and add our MQTT server. So here I'll just edit the current one and then I'll rename it to EMQX broker IoT Greengrass. For the URL, I'll be using the private DNS of the Greengrass EC2 instance. Scrolling down, you can see that the certificates are already mapped, and under advanced properties we need to make sure the client ID is exactly same as the thing name for edge of the network. So I'll call it Sparkplug _ edge of network, and that's it. So we'll save these changes, and you can see that Ignition is now able to connect to the local MQTT broker. Next, we'll edit the transmitter to configure Sparkplug group and node ID. With this, we are done configuring the edge of network node. Now, we'll do some testing on the data flow between the edge of network node and AWS IoT Core. We'll go back to the console and look for MQTT test client under AWS IoT. Using this client, you can subscribe to a topic filter like Sparkplug B version 1.0 to see all the incoming Sparkplug B messages into AWS IoT Core. Now to trigger some messages, we'll force update the Ignition transmission module. As you can see, we have the Sparkplug B messages like node birth flowing into AWS IoT Core. Now these messages that are flowing into AWS IoT Core are not being propagated to IoT SiteWise. This is because we don't have the IoT Bridge for SiteWise ready yet. And that's all for this video. Let's summarize. In this video, we started by installing Sparkplug Edge of Network node using Ignition software, and then configured the Edge of Network node to publish Sparkplug messages to a local MQTT broker on Industrial Gateway. Finally, we tested sending out messages from the Edge of Network node to AWS IoT Core. And in the next video, we'll set up IoT Bridge for SiteWise and test the end-to-end communication from an Edge of Network node to AWS IoT SiteWise. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.